text 26. We will continue here. Trinavarta santarayo vatya rupa dhara haran krishnam navagato gantum nasaknyad bhuri bharabhrit. Trinavarta santarayo vatya rupa dharo haran krishnam navagato gantum nasaknyad bhuri bharabhrit. Anyone else want to read? Recite.
Trinavarta santorayo vatya rupa dharo haran krishnam nabho gato gantum nasagnod puri bharaprit.
Trinavarta shantarayo vatya rupa dharo haram krishnam nabho gato gantum nashkanod bhuri bharaprit.
Trinavarta santarayo vatya rupa dharo haram krishnam nabho gato gantum nasaknud bhuri bharaprit.
Trinivarta Santarayo Vatya Rupa Daroharan Krishnam Nabo Gato Gantum Nashakno Buri Paraprit.
Trinavata Santarayo Vatya Rupa Dharoharan Krishnam Nabhagato Ganto Nasakno the Bhuri Bharavirta.
I didn't show the word by word translation, so just a second. Sorry. Okay. 26. Okay. Trinavarta, the demon Trinavarta, Santarayaha, the force of the blast reduced. Vatya Rupa Dharaha, who had assumed the form of a forceful whirlwind. Haran, and had thus taken away. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Navahagataha, went up to the top of the sky. Gantum, to go further. Na asaknot, was not able. Bhuri bharabhrit, because Krishna then became more powerful and heavy than the demon. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is a very nice verse and purport. We will learn many things from this, so let's do together. Having assumed the form of a forceful whirlwind, the demon Trinavarta took Krishna very high in the sky. But when Krishna became heavier than the demon had to stop his force and could go no further. Purport. Here is a competition in yogic power between Krishna and Trinavartashra. By practicing mystic yoga, asuras generally attain some perfection in the 8 siddhis, or perfections, namely anima, laghima, mahima, prapti, prakamya, isvita, isitva, vasitva, and kamavaseta. But although a demon may acquire such powers to a very limited extent, he cannot compete with the mystic power of Krishna. For Krishna is Yogeshwara, the source of all mystic power. Yatra Yogeshwara Harihi. No one can compete with Krishna. Sometimes, of course, having acquired a fragmental portion of Krishna's mystic power, asuras demonstrate their power to the foolish public and assert themselves to be God, not knowing that God is the supreme Yogeshwar. Here also we see that Trinavarta assumed the Mahima Siddhi and took Krishna away as if Krishna were an ordinary child. But Krishna also became a mystic Mahima Siddhi. When Mother Yashoda was carrying him, he became so heavy that his mother, who was usually accustomed to carrying him, could not bear him and had to place him down on the ground. Thus, Trinavarta had been able to take Krishna away in the presence of Mother Yashoda. But when Krishna, high in the sky, assumed the Mahima Siddhi, the demon, unable to go further, was obliged to stop his force and come down according to Krishna's desire. One should not, therefore, compete with Krishna's mystic power. Devotees automatically have all mystic power, but they do not like to compete with Krishna. Instead, they fully surrender to Krishna, and their yogic power is demonstrated by Krishna's mercy. Devotees can show mystic yoga so powerful that a demon could not even dream of it. But they never try to demonstrate it for their personal sense gratification. Whatever they do is for the service of the Lord, and therefore they're always in a position superior to that of the demons. There are many karmis, yogis, and jnanis who artificially try to compete with Krishna. And thus, ordinary foolish people who do not care to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from authorities consider some rascal yogi to be Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the present moment, there are many so-called Babas who present themselves as incarnations of God by showing some insignificant mystic wonders. And foolish people regard them as God because of lacking knowledge of Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tashmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Thank you so much. We will discuss some of the very important things with several examples we'll go through. Now here, this verse says, having assumed the form of a forceful whirlwind, the demon Trinavrata took Krishna very high in the sky. But when Krishna became heavier than the demon had to stop his force and could go no further. So, Sukadev Goswami, the author who actually narrating the pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And before he narrated Krishna's pastime, he has narrated several other incarnations as well, like fish incarnation, Vamana incarnation, Nursing incarnation, half lion, half man. But the hearer, who is Parikshit Maharaj, was very much inquisitive to hear this personal human, the human form activity of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. And it is said that Krishna's activities are more sweeter than any other incarnation. And that too, we are focusing on the sweet pastimes of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. A very small child. It is the love of a mother, who always plays with the child and carries the child and always with the child. And Krishna, being very loving to reciprocate the love with his devotees, he's reciprocating with his mother Yashoda, not revealing his original personality, because if he reveals himself, then even Krishna will not relish. How it is like that? You know, it is said that if Krishna knows that his supreme personality of Godhead, then there's always a superiority will come. Then you will not relish. In order to relish Mother Yashoda's parental love, he must take the mood of a child only. And that is done by Krishna's internal potency, Yoga Maya, internal potency. So ordinary people who are less intelligent, they deride, Krishna says, avajananti mam muda manusim tanumashritam. Well, when I come to this, take this human form and descend to deliver my children. But unfortunately, people deride me. They say he's a small child. He's an ordinary child. He never existed. He never existed. And the original existence is impersonal form. So Krishna condemns in Bhagavad Gita that people who do not know about my transcendental activities, appearance and activities, they will never attain me. But those who know my transcendental activities, appearance and activities, they will never take birth in this material world again, which is full of miseries. So here in this situation, one day Mother Yashoda was playing. I wanted to say, you sometimes you play with your child, raging up and catch the child. Is it common in America? Those who are mothers, is it very common in America? Like sometimes you play with your child by raging, throwing in the air and catching.
Yes, definitely.
Nice, good. I haven't seen much children. All I've seen is when children parents, they're always disciplined and all these things in programs. I haven't gone through any very intimate life of locals. So thank you. So this is natural intimacy between the mother and child. Now this intimacy is between baby Krishna and Mother Yashoda. So while doing this, and how a mother, so the old lady can throw the child, because Krishna is taking his normal humanly weight at the beginning. And suddenly she finds that as she catches, Krishna becomes so heavy. Now, what makes Krishna become so heavy? Because even though Krishna forgets everything, his original, that he's a supreme Lord, he just enjoys, but still Krishna is super soul, he knows everything. So you already understand the situation, the entry of a demon, Trina Bharta. It sometimes sounds like a imaginary, a story, but but Trinavarta is not a story. To explain the character, the ability of Trinavarta, Rupa writes that different kind of siddhis. Siddhis means perfections. This is very important for us to know the difference between a ordinary living entity and Supreme Personality of Godhead. This verse. Siddhis, there are 8 kind of siddhis. It's called Ashta Siddhis, or perfections. What is the perfections? Because different kind of siddhis, you can attain different perfections. Name Prapti. This is called Prapti. Many people try to do, being allured by this world, this temporary powers. I want to do this. What is Prapti Siddhi? By staying in one place, by staying in Delaware, Philadelphia, and wherever we are staying there, we can, if you like a jackfruit, I hope someone knows what is jackfruit. Or if you like a ripe mango, mango is already available here. Or if you like some other fruit, just extend your hand and just grab it from moon and bring it back here. That's possible. And it may not be possible by for ordinary people, but those who know the science with proper practice, they can do it. And it is still now very common in India. till now very common. But those people who do not know the science, this perfection, they will be mesmerized. Wow, how this person can do this. They will worship him with awe and reverence now as a god, because this is not humanly possible. So similarly, there's one siddhi here particularly mentioned, Trinavarta has perfected. He is also ordinary living entity like us only. Why is mentioned Asura is because this person, when he attains a demonic mentality means always give trouble to others. Always give trouble to others. So that's the primary business of the demonic mentality actually. So he has attained the siddhi called perfection, siddhi called Mahima. Mahima siddhi allows you to expand from your original size. You can bigger, heavier, or you can bigger than the biggest. However, Krishna, as a Supreme Lord, he is the Yogeshwara. Yogeshwara means he is the master of all yogis. He is the original possessor of all yogic siddhis. In fact, we should be very, very grateful that Krishna is allowing a living entity like us also to attain certain perfections at certain degree. Like Trinavarta could, expand himself, maybe a few hundred feet. But Krishna, in his dwarf form, he could expand himself and he could cover all the 14 planetary system. 14 planetary system. So Krishna also has this siddhi. Not also as Krishna is the original having all this siddhi of Mahima. So at the beginning, he manifested his Mahima siddhi while he was being played with Mother Yashoda. Because it was important for him to make sure that Mother Yashoda leaves me on the floor. He didn't want that she should be disturbed with all this. So when Mother Yashoda found Krishna become heavier, she was forced to put Krishna down, and she finds it's very, very unusual. And this activity of Krishna very unusual. Something must have happened. She's working on how to resolve this, maybe by calling brahmanas or chanting some prayers. She's really working on it. In the meantime, this person Trinavarta, who was influenced and directed by Kamsa, the birds of the same feather flock together, right? It's American saying. People have same personality, same, they like to stay together and they like to work together. They like to have a very common mission. So Kamsa's mission was to always go against the devotional service, the good things of this world, because it's the demon. And Trinavarta and all these demonic people, they joined their hands to fulfill those common mission. That's why one's association makes one what he or she is. Prabhupada has created this beautiful association so that, irrespective of whatever we are, we can still transform our consciousness and change whatever the little demonic propensities we have in our heart to purify them and to make it a spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, by regular practicing, regular chanting, regular association. But Trinavarta was completely dedicated to the mission of Kamsa. We hear all these, terrorist groups. They have their own network. So many businesses. We don't have to talk about those terrorist groups. We can talk about those, the capitalists. They have their own network. If you make some theme park, you make a cartoon show also, and you make some toys also to that. Now everybody makes their own network to plunder people in different degrees, in different degrees. But however, here we will see the difference between the persons with godly consciousness um, um, and uh, asuric consciousness, demonic consciousness. So here Prabhupada writes that devotees automatically have all mystic powers, but they do not like to compete with Krishna. Well, this is a very important statement. Very important statement. When Prabhupada was, preaching, there's one mystic, a man with mystic power came, and he came with his disciples. So he came with his disciples, and he showed some mystic magical power. He did manifested so many things. Then Prabhupada said, why are you wasting your time in this? But his disciples, the mystic yogis disciples, were glorified. See, my guru is so best; he can do so many things. But their guru realized that Prabhupada is way above this. He knows that this is all the temporary. But we have a tendency. What is the tendency? We want name. People should our names should be everywhere. We need the fame. We need adoration, name, fame, adoration. All these things we have. So we want to take Krishna's position. Instead, Krishna's name, fame, glory should be glorified. We want, our name and fame should be glorified. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur condemns this. Because as long as we aspire for such things which are deeply situated as anartha means impurities in our heart, they become the cause of our living in this material world eternally. As a spiritual master who helps us actually to identify, to recognize our disease. So that's why sometimes we may not be happy with our spiritual masters, with our devotees who are counseling, guiding us. But whether we are happy or not, we must continue by following the instructions and working on it. And one should not react to the situation. Rather, a sincere disciple must accept, recognize one's impurities in the heart and progress in spiritual journey. So here, devotees automatically have all mystic powers, but they do not like to compete with Krishna. There's one situation I will explain. I have 10-15 minutes. There are two examples we will take. Many of you know about Hanuman. Hanuman is form of monkey. Monkey is a form of, for us, if someone calls monkey, we immediately get what do you call, offended. You call monkey. But here the monkey form has been glorified since time immemorial, since thousands of years been glorified. Why? Because of his devotional service to Lord Ramachandra. He was so dedicated. When Mother Sita was kidnapped by Ravana, a demonic Ravana, and took over to Lanka. So all these monkeys, they were engaged in the service to find Mother Sita. However, everyone chose, some of the people knew the power, the potency of Hanuman. He was not an ordinary child. He has forgotten his mystic powers. Jamvan reminded Hanuman, because when the time came that he has to jump from Indian Ocean, from the shore of India, from Indian Ocean to Lanka, no one can do. Hanuman can do. So Jambavan reminded Hanuman about the mystic power. So Hanuman expanded himself so big just to serve, to satisfy Lord Rama. Now, while doing that, there are many things we have to pay attention that You know, Hanuman, someone can say, well, Hanuman had this power, Hanuman had this ability, you know, that's why he could do it. Krishna gives everyone, Krishna says, I am the ability in man. Uh, Whether I have some skills, whether I have some money, you know, all these things, it is coming from me. Utilizing up to what we have, what has been given, that is perfection. We may not lift, we cannot discharge services up in quantity like Hanuman, but we can do within our capacity. That's why, according to Krishna, you know, there's no difference between when what Hanuman does and one small squirrel does. Everyone must do according to their capacity. So Hanuman here is expanded himself, you know, showing his siddhi, perfection, and flew in the sky, you know, leaped to Lanka. Now, while leaping on the ocean, he found out another demoness was living in the water ocean, and her plan was to eat Hanuman, to make Hanuman as a food. Now, what happened? Hanuman requested. He said, "You can eat me." Such a wonderful consciousness, the mind's a devotion. He said, "You can eat me, but please, let me finish my service to my Lord Ramchandra." So when he said that, but the demons in the waters did not listen. You know, I'm sorry, a lot of background kirtan is also going on for me. I closed that door. So what happened? No, you have to be my foot. So Hanuman, seeing that, Hanuman expanded more, bigger. When Hanuman expanded himself bigger, that demon also opened her mouth a big. Hanuman again expanded bigger. The demon again expanded her mouth. Then Hanuman immediately took the form of a fly and boom, entered into the mouth of the demon and came out. He said, "Look, take it here. I become your food. No, you ate me. Now I came out. Now let me go." This is one of the things how Hanuman being even attaining siddhis is not bad. Attaining siddhis is not bad. Misusing those siddhis is actually bad. So Hanuman is the example. We can take example from Hanuman, not Trinavarta. There's another example was given that there's a king called, there's a king, what is his name? I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Anyone remember, remember the king who engaged all his senses in service to cleaning the temple?
Yeah.
Certainly.
Ambarish? Maharaj Ambarish.
Very good. Thank you so much. That makes it interactive. I'm glad Krishna made me forget. So Ambarish king was performing sincere austerity. He was a great and pious king. You know, the kings the devotees' mindset is they're always humble. They won't show their mystic powers and all these things. But one day, there's a great sage means who is endowed with a lot of mystic powers, called Durvasa. When Durvasa Muni came, it is duty of King Ambarish to serve. So, but Durvasa Muni said, "No, let me finish my duties. I'll take bath, and when I come back, you can serve me." Well, that's what has happened. And Ambarish was waiting and Durvasa would not come. Somehow, during same time, Ambarish Maharaj was fasting for Ekadasi. You know, all of us as Vaishnavas, it is recommended that one should fast for Ekadasi, especially from grains and beans. And he was waiting, it was fasting from grains and beans and fasting and without water itself. When he was fasting, the time to break a fast is there. It's called Dwadasi, certain time. You have to break the fast. So that makes the completion of the fast. It has its own rules and regulations, and we should not give up. We should try our best to do it. So unfortunately, Durvasa was not returning from his bath. So what he do? So Ambarish Maharaj, he consulted, what should I do? If I don't break my fast, I'll lose all the merits. It will be not much use. So he consulted the senior devotees and Brahmanas over there. They suggested, okay, king, because you're a pious king, and you must, live with etiquette. Example. However, this is the way you can do both. What is that? You take a drop of water. It is not is considered as a breaking the fast and not breaking the fast as well. So simply by taking a drop of water, he broke his fast, but still he waited to serve his special guest, Durvasa Muni, says Durvasa, who was endowed with all these mystic powers. Now, Durvasa comes back and he finds this awkward situation. So this is the difference between a material perfection. His heart is, Durvasa's heart is not pure, even though he attained so much of perfection. Whereas Ambarish Maharaj, even though he's acting like ordinary man, even as a householder, family, even if he's a king, and even if he has so much of a mystic, actually he had a mystic power. That's why he says devotees automatically have all the mystic powers. Referring to personalities like Ambarish Maharaj, referring to personalities like Prabhupada, it's referred. But they don't reveal those and they don't abuse those siddhis. So when Durvasa came and found out Ambarish has broke his fast, he became furious. He said, how dare you can do this? And he becomes so angry for a small thing. That's why we can attain so many perfections. But so our path of self-realization is, are we able to attain perfections to our senses, controlling our senses? Am I able to control my tongue? Am I able to control my mind? Am I able to control my senses? I may have whole world under my control, but I am losing, myself. I think if I heard from somewhere, when Alexander, the King Alexander went to India to conquer, all over the places. He conquered several places, several countries. When he went to India, and then he got this realization from some people, some yogis who were there living. He said that you may control everything, but if you do not control yourself, then what kind of controller you are? So here Ambarish Maharaj had the full control on his senses, whereas Durvasa had no control. He showed full anger, and he created one another personality with his mystic power. He used his mystic power. What is the mystic power? To kill Ambarish Maharaj. No, that's very, very bad. It is not uncommon as a practicing devotees. we come from millions of lifetimes. After Bahunam Janmanant, after many, many lifetimes, we come in association of devotees. And when we come in association of devotees, we take very gratefully. You all, let's remember, contemplate our moments when we came to Hare Krishna. Hope it is not a bad experience. Or first few months, how appreciative we are, how grateful we were. But as we grow in our devotional service, then we come to know things, understand well. We know everybody. We develop familiarity with all the devotees. Oh, he's like this, he's like this, he's like this. We develop all this familiarity. When we develop, we lose the taste for devotional service. We lose the taste for devotional service. So Ambarish Maharaj, even though he had all these mystic perfections, he did not misuse to counteract the whatever Durvasa says has created. This shows the greatness. That's why devotees are always dear to Lord Krishna. Devotees are always dear to Krishna. That's why Krishna says now in 6 point um, uh, 29, yoginam api sarvesam madgatarantaratmana saddhavan bhaja. Among all the yogis, mystic yogis, best is very simple, the one who offers me in loving devotional service. One is, here is Trinavarta, and here is just an ordinary person in Philadelphia and Delaware, just offering make a beautiful garland for Lord Krishna. According to Krishna's eyes, this lady, this person, or this man, even though he doesn't know anything, great, big things, but see, he's making a beautiful garland for me, cleaning my temple, serving the devotees. Serving the devotees. So in Krishna's eyes, that's a very appreciative. And that become eligible to attain the love for Krishna, which is most rare. It's the rarest thing in this whole universe. That's why at present moment, Prabhupada at the final is, at present moment, there's many so-called Babas who present themselves as incarnations of God by showing some insignificant mystic wonders. You know, this in India, this is very common. Every day there's incarnation comes. And there's unlimited explanations in Bhagavatam also. We don't have time, sometimes we can go. However, everyone wants to be God. Everyone wants to be God. Even I'm talking about myself, even I want to be God. I like, name, fame, adoration. I want appreciation every day in order for me to come to temple or render devotional service. Okay, at the beginning we need, but gradually we must work on our anarthas, and whether we like or we don't like, we work in this for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We should be very careful while engaging devotional service. The anarthas like Trinavarta, anarthas like Putana, they all will manifest in our heart. Our Acharya says that one must carefully guard those anarthas and work on by properly discharging devotional service to Lord Krishna. So maybe I'll end it here. I'll open because the time is very short. I'll end it here. If we have any questions, comments, reflections, please do so.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. That was very nice, good reminder that we should. But sometimes I hear people say, oh, you know what, in this day and age, we cannot be like that. You know, this is Kali Yuga. This is, if we back down, then people will just overrun us. They will just step over us. That's not the way to do it. It worked at that time, but it won't work now. How do you respond to that?
Yes, very nice thing. When I was in, I can give you my personal example, if you don't mind. I'm sorry because you asked. I thought I can give my personal example. When I was in college, it was in 92 to 96. My friends were very dear to me, and I was very dear to them. And they said that, oh, when I was leaving the college, how will you live in this world? This world is bad. You have to be bad to live with them. They literally put in my head. And they literally put on my head. And before I came to America, I was told, oh, what will you eat in America? Everyone eats in America meat. You may, I don't know what you'll get. Start eating egg and meat, all this, whatever things, the perceptions people have. So look at here in America, Krishna is arranged nice every day, different preparations my wife makes, and I'm sure you also make nice preparations. And those devotees living in temple, they're also relishing, beautiful preparation. And more than that, in America also, we have a sadhu sangha. So it is the desire of the living entity. Krishna says, I am within the heart of every living entity. And based on one's desire, I create that. I'm very grateful. As soon as I found ISKCON, like actually, fortunately, whatever it is, no one had to preach me. As soon as I found ISKCON, and I just entered to the temple and engaged in my service. So, but without ISKCON, I was not finding. They were right up to some extent because Kali is in every corner. But then what is the point? You live. However, I'll give an example. One day, Narad Muni, snake, cobra.
Yeah.
We have Anna here on the call. Anna, I'm very much impressed to see your video. Anna can catch a snake. Anna, is that right?
Boy.
I was thinking of you last week. She put a video. She says she had a snake as a pet. So I will give an example. So snake is by nature is very envious, very bad, and it says snakes can be killed even by saintly persons. Now, one day, if the snake comes in contact with the Narad Muni. Narad Muni is a great sage. Whoever comes in association of a sadhu, they will get only benefited. So Narad Muni says, what are you doing, snake? Actually, Narad Muni literally initiated this cobra. So as soon as the cobra became devotee, what did he do? He started showing his saintly behavior. Who started showing? The cobra
snake.
started showing his saintly behavior. So when cobra becomes quiet and innocent, everything, what happened? These local people, local kids, they started, oh, cobra has become now and harmless. Like they started beating and all this. Every time they used to harass this cobra. After some time, the spiritual master, Narad Muni, comes back and returns. And he says that to check out how his disciples doing, because spiritual master's responsibility to see the disciples progressing spiritually. So he finds the snake disciple. He says, I'm doing okay, but this is the situation. So now Narad Muni told, I asked you not to bite, but I never told you not to hiss. Right? So hiss means, I hope I use a proper word. You can express your anger, dissatisfied anger just to show externally, but you have to act according to time, place, circumstances. There are two things, showing, just like we show our dissatisfaction to our children, no, you should not do this. But within our heart, we are actually loving and caring with the same person. So devotees can have two forms many times. As a temple president, Dhananjay Sariprabhu, is a vice president. He's discharging his duty. Well, within his heart is a devotee, but his primary service he has taken is to uplift the consciousness of the people together as a community to come forward. To do that, you have to treat accordingly. So there's a Brahman in the temple and there's a Kshatriya in the temple. Both has a different service. Brahmana can be tolerant and Sama, Dhamma, Tapa, Socha. However, as a president, he cannot be tolerant all the time, because if he can be tolerant for other suffering, then another person will suffer. Right? So we should accept this not as a sentimentally, but rather very practically. And those people who say that in this world, how can you live? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Apani Acharya Kar Prachar. We must teach them with our own example only now. In this world, we may speak 5,000 lectures, but until and unless they see how we act, how we behave, how we live, it won't change the transform the heart of the other people. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu.
I hope you didn't mind I gave you an example. By giving example, I saved you. You can tell Krishna Kirtan gave this. Sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. My question is, in this statement in the first sentence of the second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada says, devotees automatically have all mystic power, but they do not like to compete with Krishna. So you gave the example of Hanuman, which I thought was nice. But wasn't devotees? It's for here. It makes it sound like all devotees automatically have mystic powers. So is it to be read that all devotees have mystic powers? If so, how do we have all mystic powers? Not that, or it should be read that devotees who have mystic powers, they don't use them because they don't like to compete with Krishna. What is the proper understanding of this?
Thank you. So when he said devotees, I'll give a brief understanding. Who is a Vaishnava? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked, who is a Vaishnava? Whoever you hear, at least even once Hare Krishna Mahamantra from their mouth, you should consider them as a Vaishnava, right? When it is a devotee means, there are two ways we can do, as a practitioner, sadhaka, and those who attained pure devotional service, both. So while primarily when it is in both cases, whether we are practicing or attending, the difference is that to the degree of surrendering submissiveness to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So in both ways, what happens, to the degree we satisfy Krishna, Krishna become the servant of the devotees as well. That's why in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Lila is the very beautiful Lila, that the more a living entity wants to be God, God wants to be the servant. He relishes by serving his devotees. That's why Krishna says that I will never let. Why the devotees are automatically mystic powers? Because they have Krishna with them. They have Krishna with them. That's the only thing. Simply, Prahlad Maharaj, the 5-year-old boy. What the 5-year-old boy, many of us know the 5-year-old boy Prahlad. How did he? And his father was a very mystic power, Hiranyakashipu. It was a very powerful mystic power. So then, what is the difference? Mystic power, which we are talking about. The Hiranyakashipu has attained material perfection. Still is imperfect because his consciousness is not submissive to the subservient to the Supreme Lord and devotees. On the other hand, devotees who have given completely surrender at the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna personally takes over their life. So basically, when the devotees automatically have all mystic powers, means, as you worship, what do the devotees do? And in all circumstances, good and bad, we meditate on Lord Krishna. That's what Dhruva Maharaj did. When Dhruva Maharaj was attacked, Dhruva Maharaj went to attack to Yakshas to take a revenge for his brother. There's all the Yakshas all over there, so powerful. They created so much a scene for him and buried him with all these arrows and everything. And what did he do? Because Dhruva Maharaj is a pure devotee, he simply remembered Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, and everything became destroyed. So in my understanding, Dranacharya Prabhu, is that our mystic power is our service to Lord Krishna, our relationship with Lord Krishna. That we need to cultivate more and more until we accept, in our heart, we do a complete surrender at his lotus feet. Because Krishna says, Ya yatamam prapadante tam stateva bhajamya. To the degree my devotee has surrendered to me, to the same degree I reciprocate. In the pastimes of Draupadi, those who know, the wife of five husbands, Pandavas, while she was being, stripped naked, right? I hope I'm using the right word. So at the beginning, she was attempting to take care of herself. Oh, I will take care of myself. And then she comes to all other husbands that they will help me. Well, then finally, what did she do? Because she remembered she's a pure devotee, she remembered, now I need to take shelter of Krishna only. Then the real mystic power came. What is the mystic power? That she could never lose her sari. Well, here are the two things. When for devotees, we understand that Krishna supplied the unlimited saris. But for non-devotees, what is that? It's the mystic power of Draupadi, because they don't understand Krishna's hand behind it. So both the devotee or non-devotee, all these abilities, everything comes from the Lord. However, the non-devotee does not recognize the Supreme Lord is behind as the supplier of everything. And the devotee recognizes that all these things happens just because of my will. It's fulfilled is because of the Lord Krishna's will, Lord Krishna's sanction. And Prabhupada said, how Prabhupada could translate these volumes of book, the 108 temples, that's the mystic power. We may accept or not, it's a really mystic power. And why it is possible? Because Krishna personally lives with Prabhupada's heart. Prabhupada's desires and Krishna fulfills. Prabhupada's desires, here the person I needed, Krishna fulfills. So to the degree we surrender to the Supreme Lord, to the same degree, Krishna reciprocates with us. So devotees automatically means here, we understand that at the beginning, neophytes like me may not have that thing. But if as I work in progress, Krishna will become my protector. He'll supply everything and anything is needed. That's what my understanding. Actually, anyone else wanted to say? Please share.
Actually, Prabhu, thank you so much. That was an excellent explanation. Thank you so much. I actually just wanted to, it was kind of a clarifying question. I had heard before that we are all practicing to be devotees, that this is the sadhana bhakti, that we're in that practicing phase. So I'm curious, well, sometimes when we see in Shastra, like devotees, that devotees is referring to pure devotees, that we are because we're in that sadhana phase of practicing to be, pure devotees, practicing our devotional service, that when it's referenced in Shastra, that devotees actually means that someone that, like you said, has fully surrendered to the Lord and takes everything as Krishna's arrangement. So I just wanted to kind of clarifying question on that.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur, devotee is who actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions in Saranagati. There are 6 limbs. When I say I am a devotee, surrendered devotee, means there are 6 limbs he mentioned. What is the meaning of the 6 things? If it's okay, I can share with you. Dainya Atma Nivedana, Gatrite Varana, Abhasya Rakhibe Krishna, Viswasa Palana. Bhakti Anukola Matra Karjara Sikar, Bhakti Pratikola Karjara Vajana. So basically in English, it's called Dainya. When I say I am a devotee, means I am humble, not just externally superficial humble, the real humble. Now, then I accept, the second thing I accept is the Lord Krishna as my maintainer. Third is Lord Krishna is my protector. Fourth is Atma Nivedana, I'm submitting myself to the Lord Krishna. And fifth is, accepting everything favorable for devotional service to Krishna. And sixth is giving up everything which Krishna doesn't like. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives in summary at the whole purpose of surrendering, submissiveness is, Saranga saranagata hoibe jaha tahara prarthana sune Srinanda Kumar. Is the beautiful, and after explaining all this, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, here is the Krishna Kirtan, comes to temple every time and worships, oh Krishna, do this. And when Krishna Kirtan prays, nothing happens. So, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when a pure devotee speaks, why pure devotees are really, have imbibed all these 6 qualities. As soon as the pure devotee says that, they are going to, Krishna immediately listens. So to come to your point, if I understand correctly, then what is the difference between a sadhaka is, at this time, we are under the training. We are still working on improving our taste for the holy name. But remember, any holy name, any service doesn't go waste. but we are in the cleansing process. The anartha nibriti stage is that takes a very long time. Out of all these 7 or 8 stages, now we have come together. We have developed taste for Krishna consciousness. We have come together. We are taking initiation, and we are practicing on our regulated principles, regulated sadhana bhakti which is given. So that training, when we do, eventually what will happen? It will develop the taste for holy name. So to same degree, as we develop the taste, so Krishna will start revealing more and more in our heart. I hope and Rupa Goswami explains devotees are 3 categories, Kanishta, neophytes, and Madhyamadhikari and Uttamadhikari. We must recognize that. Because if you don't recognize, if you say everybody is same, all are same, then for us there is no growth. I say I am same, Dhanacharya Prabhu say everybody is same. So how will I take it? To whom will I take an example? So Acharya says that you take an example of a perfected being and follow in their footsteps. So then you know where you are and you know where you need to reach. Did I made it okay?
Yes, that was great. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji?
Yes.
We can hear you, Prabhu.
Yeah, just wanted to get clarify on this, just little clarification required in the purport, the 4th line where you quoted 18.78, Yatra Yogeswara Krishna. So in Bhagavad Gita, it writes Yatra Yogeswara Krishna.
Right.
Here is that like Prabhupada Maharaj mentions like Yatra Yogeswara Hari. So is it, I'm just going for the word, not for the context. I understand the context like Hari and Krishna, how Hari is expansion from Krishna. So is it taken from some other Purana? Like when I was going through the search, from the search it goes to like Hari Bhakti Vilas by Gopal Bhatt Goswami. He mentions like Yatra Yogeswara Hari. So like Yasam Chitra Gadapano Bhaktir Anya Vichintane Yat Yanti Nityam Asthanam Yatra Yogeswara Hari. So that is in Hari Bhakti Vilas. So is that means how is that Hari here something or Krishna there is something? Probably if you can put light on that.
Yeah, thank you. But before I comment on that, I thank you for pointing that explains even Dhanacharya Prabhu's question. Dhanacharya Prabhu asked about the mystic powers. So here it says that what the mystic power is. For the devotees, mystic power is love for Krishna. When we take shelter of Lord Krishna, Krishna personally takes care of, and they are this is here directly explained. Thank you for this, because we may not have separately, because we don't work independent of Krishna. For anything, we depend on Krishna. In order to come back to your question about Bhagavad Gita, which you mentioned, Yatra Yogeswara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanudhara, Tatra Si Vijaya Mutir Dhruva Nitir Martiva. So I'm getting old and my eyes are bad. So both are same. Both are same. In our prayers in the morning, if you see in our temple, you find sometimes when we're offering of obeisances to Bunda Devi, all some devotees will say, Bundaya Tulsi Devyaya Priyaya Kesavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prada Devi Satyavate Namano. Then other devotees will say, no. Brindaya Tulsi Devyaya Priyaya Kesavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Prada Devi Satyavate Nama. It's like Krishna is black or Krishna is white. That's the puzzling. Krishna puzzles. So we understand from Acharya they're non-different, that they're both same. Talking about. Is that okay? Yeah. Thank you for referring that. I'm glad you're working on this.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu. It was a very, very nice class. Good questions by the devotees. I'd like to just mention that tomorrow we're going to be continuing our study on the Japa Reform Notebook. This is a book written by His Holiness Satsrup Das Goswami to help devotees improve their japa, concentration, and dedication to the holy name. So please tune into that. This begins at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It also gives devotees an opportunity to chant japa together. There's a portion of the class for us to chant japa together. Also Sunday, for our Sunday feast program. It's a couple days away, but I just want to put it out there. We have His Grace Adi Gadadhar Prabhu will be speaking to us for the Sunday program. So the announcements that I have. Wish everybody a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Until we see you guys tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Panchakalpatarubhishta kripa sindhubhedita patitanam pavebhyo
Manipyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo.
Namo.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much, Prabhuji, for nice lecture.